this is the first panel of the lunch, and we're going to be talking about how to personal branding and branding yourself, something that I personally am really, really interested in. And I think no matter what you do, everyone in the audience, you can benefit from branding yourself. It doesn't matter if you have an employer, if you have a startup, or if you're a student. I think in today's society, to be really successful, you have to brand yourself. If you think about just the way we're so public in these days, we're on Instagram, we're showing really who we are. So Maral, we have with us today, is, I would say, a personal branding expert, a little bit by accident, but a lot of passion. So,
sure.
Yeah, so I would like to start off with, what would the difference between personal branding and if you were branding a company, what would that be like?
I mean, there are similarities and differences, because when you're doing personal branding, maybe it's more, you can say whatever you want and get away with it. But when you are representing a brand and what that company does, it's a different momentum. So you have to be a little bit more careful, because it's not like one person and you can respond. You have to be true to the company's values and represent not just yourself, but the entire company.
Yeah, exactly. And I find your story fascinating. We actually met up a few days ago, and I've been really inspired. I've been being how can I personally brand myself better? So I want to hear a little bit how you became Maral from Twitter, for example.
Yeah.
So start from the beginning.
Yes, it's a title I'm gonna die with, I think. Maral from Twitter.
Which is amazing.
So let's see how the audience is awake. How many of you are on Twitter today?
Oh.
Okay, quite cool. Tweet then what you're hearing.
Yeah, Twitter.
Yeah, so I will be shortly say, for those of you who didn't hear my story before. So 5 years ago, 2013, I was job hunting, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my time. I went to Silicon Valley for, let's call it an inspirational trip. And I volunteered at events like UPPSTART to have, but I mean, in Sweden, some of the events are free, but in Silicon Valley, you have to usually pay to get in. But I didn't have money because I was not working, and I couldn't work because I didn't have the visa, so I could volunteer instead and have access to those events. So I went to I applied, and I got in, do goodie bags or check name tags and so on. And then during those events, I see there is a hashtag on the screen and everywhere in the room. Do we have a hashtag here? No.
We have an UPPSTART hashtag.
Yeah. So everyone was tweeting to this hashtag and talking to each other, saying what's happening, and then meeting in the corners and so on. A lot of things were happening. So I'm okay, I downloaded my Twitter on my mobile. I had forgotten my password, so I did that. And then, long story short, I started to tweet. I mean, I started volunteering as a mini blogger. And then I moved back to Stockholm in August, September. And that's when all the startup ecosystem had just started to boom. I found out about Sub 46, the startup people of Sweden, our hub. And then there was the Stockholm Tech meetup going on. So I go to Sub 46, and they have everywhere papers that says, "Nice to tweet you," hashtag Sub 46, hashtag Stockholm Tech. And then I start to go to events, still looking for a job. That's how I started to cover what's happening in Stockholm on meetups, what's happening in Stockholm at events, what's happening with founders and their stories. So I became somehow a voice for people who didn't have one, and also I really loved talking about others when I started, and it was reporting. Some people call it digital storytelling. Some people call it reporting. So that's how I got my nickname from, Maral from Twitter. Yeah.
But that's also coming back to, I've mentioned this a second time, but also what like Jason said in the beginning as well, it's about like highlighting other people and really helping other people, and that's exactly just what you did.
Yes.
So what happened next? Like, what was the next thing after you kind of became Maral from Twitter? Like, how did this benefit you?
Yeah, so one thing that I took in my advantage was, you know, the funny thing is that yesterday there was this podcast about Elon Musk where he says he expresses himself not using his hair, but he expresses himself using Twitter. So I think I've used both. So I don't have a very common Swedish look, so I use that to my advantage. My curly hair, they're very popular on Twitter these days. So it was one way to identify the physical and the digital person. So if you see me in real life and you see me on Twitter, you can spot that this is the same person. So I use that a lot, and I like meeting people, so I was networking, not just sitting and tweeting. That's how I met at Sub 46 lunch party a woman named Rosie Linder. Yep. So she is the founder of Peppy Pals. And I still was not working, so I wanted to, I liked her idea. Peppy Pals is an educational game platform for kids. So she made me part of her, I started to help her out once a week, and then it became twice a week, and then 3 times a week, and then she made me into a co-founder. And I started to help her out, and then I got hired by a corporate at Philips. After Philips, I was doing still events, covering events, nighttime and weekend, and working on Peppy Pals, and working full-time at Philips. I did a lot of community activities like Sub 46 Femtech for 3 years, and then Startup Grind, Stockholm chapter for 2 years. And then one day in 2016, Sting, Stockholm Innovation and Growth, the best accelerator and incubator. They called me. They're like,
as they do, you know. This is what this is how it works.
So they called me. They're like, yeah, we love what you're doing, but do you want to work with us on full time and we pay you for it? I'm like, jackpot, you know.
So it paid off, basically. There we go.
I'm gonna go mingle and tweet on full time and make money out of it. So yeah, it was an easy decision. I left my corporate job and I went to Sting, only to stay 10 months. And then I met my current boss, Hjalmar Nilsson, who was a Sting alumni. We met first time on Twitter, of course, like everyone else.
Obviously, that's how we...
No-brainer.
For sure.
And then we used to hang out a lot at events, and so he asked me if I would make the jump to be the first marketing manager at Watty, his baby, and now it's my baby too. Yeah, it's been now. I'm saying it to sound cool. It's been 20 months. I'm there.
Oh, that's like just like a baby. It's 20 months. But that's amazing. So you started like networking on Twitter, and then you got all these like opportunities coming your way. And for anyone here in the audience who would like to do something similar, wants to work, what is the 3 things you would say like that you need to kind of nail to get there?
I mean, I get this question a lot. I think I really, like when I talk about Twitter, no one wants to hear it but I love to talk about it. It brightens my day, I want to talk about Twitter 24 hours. I love it because I never do anything that I don't enjoy. No. Like even in the startup now, it's the hardest thing I have ever done in terms of work. But I cannot see myself doing something else because I really still enjoy it. So if I'm not enjoying it, I will not do it. So it's the same. Like my first, not rule, but my first advice would be to enjoy what you're doing. I really
passionate.
Yes.
And
yeah. You have to I told you like my fame or my brand was I didn't brand myself. People branded me somehow, Maral from Twitter. And it was a side effect of something I really loved to do. So I never planned to be this person. I never planned. I was just jobless and I wanted to do something. So I used the platform to somehow create myself.
Yeah.
And so yes, I really enjoy doing. I still love to tweet, and to tweet is to tell a story, share a story, and it has usually an impact on other people's lives. So you have to enjoy what you're doing. And then I don't tweet for the sake of tweeting, or it's the same with anything that you do. You have to know, like my target audience was the Stockholm tech community. I wanted to talk about them. I wanted to make the world know how great Stockholm is for a place to start up, and who our founders were, and what events were happening, what are the trends and so on. So they were on that hashtag, so that's why it worked for me. Twitter, it could be different for the brand or for you as a person. Like it could be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn, and you have to test, like, to see where your audience is. So like you want to start niche, where you want to talk. For me was Stockholm, and now it's a little bit bigger. It's Nordic, and then it's Europe. So it's becoming bigger and bigger. And then third one is to not be like, I'm a little bit, not a little bit, I'm very unpolitically correct. So I think that I like to test things and risk things. So I have no shame at, I mean, I usually say, what's the worst thing that could happen? I'm not gonna die, right? So I do it anyway.
It's like, it's not. Okay.
Yeah, to be daring a little bit more than like, it's like
stand out.
Yeah. So I think that, I mean, those are a little bit general tips, but it's so true. Like, you know who you want to be what do you want to be known for? Who are you going to be known for? And then where are they, offline, online? Find them. What are they talking about? What content are they talking about? How can you, from what you love to do and what they need, you can connect these two things. And then there you have this like sweet spot, right? From your side and their side, and then that's it. And just enjoy it. It's so important to enjoy it.
I think that we're saying as well, like we keep coming back to this, the passion. It's like you can't really fake it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to be like an expert in AI, but I really don't care about it. But it's like a hot topic, and I guess I should. I mean, that's not going to really work because that's where you have to have that passion.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's easy to, you can buy a course on Coursera and then learn about AI and then start.
If you're really interested in it,
Yeah, and then if you're good on stage, you can start being an AI expert. This is how things work. But then you will be able to run that at a certain time, and then it will be expired if you don't build up on that knowledge, you know? Like you can fake it until you make it, maybe, I don't know.
But I'm sure some people can, but I think it's a lot harder though.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you have to really enjoy it. I don't know if I'm saying the same over, but I think that's the key for why I am here today.
Yeah. So if you would say like,
I mean, my Twitter even took me to Iran, you know, their first global startup event, and it was one of the best trips of my life.
Yeah. And that's all because you started tweeting, which is
Mojan here, she found me. So this is my favorite part, okay?
Okay, yeah, tell us. I mean, love her. This is amazing.
So this is something my colleagues are sick and tired of hearing. So
well, we haven't heard it, so.
No. So you know Elon Musk, right?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
The audience is so silent.
I know, guys.
Yeah. So this is my favorite part. So he replied to me not once, not twice, but 3 times on Twitter.
Okay, how does one do that? How many times do you have to tweet him?
I have really.
You tweeted him hundreds of times?
I was dreaming about it. You know? I was visioning it. No, I have counted how many times. Like I had a strategy that every time someone tweets, you can get a notification.
Yeah.
If you care that much. So I have been getting notification from Elon, like I have been, and I have tried 50 times to get a response from him.
50, okay.
Yeah. It didn't work out until I did a lot of stupid, let's say silly tweets just to get his attention. It didn't work out.
Like, what was like a silly tweet?
Like, because I don't know, if you read his Twitter, he's not very serious himself. So
he's not, okay.
No, and I don't know how he actually selects the people he's gonna reply to. Some things, I think sometimes he does it randomly. But I mean, how often do you get the response randomly from, you know, because one time I said, I think you should change your bio because he was selling hats at a certain time last year. And I said, I think you should put a salesman. He didn't reply to that tweet, but he did change his bio to a hat salesman after I tweeted that. So I don't know, I'm just wishing in my heart that he listened to me.
He does.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we can confirm that.
I mean, I think someone asked me, like, why is it so special that Elon Musk? I mean, you had the skeptics as well. But I think that it comes back to, like, I really monitored every move he was making, so almost like stalking him online, you know, what he's into,
right.
Yeah. And then I knew my target, basically, right? And then when I hit it, I got the response.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we're going to open up for questions quite soon, so have a little think. And if anyone wants to ask from a personal, like, how can I personally brand? That's a perfect opportunity. But
and that's how. So I went to Mujan. Found me from. She found me seeing that Elon Musk is replying to this person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's the story.
Yes. So she found me from his newsfeed, and then she took me to. She Googled a little bit more, and then she said, okay.
The secret is to get to Elon Musk's Twitter feed. No, but one more question before we open up the floor is, so from a startup founder perspective, how can, like, personal branding benefit you and your company?
Very good question, and I encourage, you know, not every founder is going to be enjoying because to do this, but like there was Elon is a good example. Yesterday there was an article how Tesla, you never see advertisement anywhere.
It's true.
They don't put memes of cats. Yeah, so they're using his Twitter because he tweets something. Every media outlets write about it, and that's increasing, like, their culture. You know, I usually say the founder or the CEO is the face of the company, and then the team who he is going to hire is the reflection of that founder, and then the product that they're going to create is the reflection of the product of the team.
Yeah.
So so the team is a reflection of the founder, and then the product is a reflection of the team.
Yeah.
So when you have that leader talking publicly like that and showing not afraid to show some personality, I think that creates a great thing. And if you are a founder today, maybe you don't like to tweet, maybe you are more on LinkedIn. I mean, it depends on your business.
Tools, absolutely. And
yes.
that's well where you feel like as well comfortable, and that would normally be where your company is probably successful.
Yes.
As well.
I mean, you can usually you can put a face on the brand when you have people referring you, and then you can promote your brand or your company and what you're doing, your culture, and you can have better recruitments. You can have also more sales, inbound leads. You don't have to, like, for Watty, we are a startup. I don't like to buy. I'm the head of marketing. I don't like to buy like ads. We find other ways to do it.
Which is so much more powerful than ads. Like, it's such a more powerful way.
Yes, it's the people power, you know, internally and externally.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, well, let's open up for question, and we have this magical little microphone. So you speak close to it, but not too close. So, any questions?
This is a Swedish crowd. They will never ask questions.
Don't be shy. You get the opportunity here from a personal branding expert.
Did you understand everything?
Right.
No questions at all from your head?
They're gonna come. Yeah. Do you wanna?
I don't hear you. To who? Aha, okay. So, so he was talking about design, and I've asked him what the first one was. What was his favorite design book? So I asked the question, and then he answered about about a classic car that he had when growing up, classic car book, and he also gave me like another artwork. Yeah.
Perfect.
And then one funny was like if he was the delivery person delivering the hats, and he said maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. All right.
From here? It's from here?
Yeah.
You don't need to kiss it, but you can.
So I had a question I never asked you actually. Who is your role model?
Yes. Yeah, my role model is not Elon Musk. My role model is Steve Jobs. and he has made a very big impact in my life, and I love, a lot of people tell me he's an asshole, and I say I love assholes, so that's how the conversation ends. But I think, look at everything we have today. I mean, Twitter wouldn't exist, Spotify wouldn't exist. A lot of the startups that we have in Sweden and Stockholm today wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the impact that Steve Jobs did together with Apple, of course, on life. I mean, with the products that I become a better person using their products.
Yeah, but also it's funny as well with someone like Steve Jobs. He has a pretty distinct look as well. The way he personally branded himself, you know, with the turtleneck and like he was recognizable, and the way he was very well as well. Like he was pretty like, you know, he said what he wanted to, and you know.
Yeah, he was very direct, and I liked that
personality, you know, and he showed it. Okay, another question. You can see. Yes. Just throw the magic microphone. Whoa, it's perfect.
Okay, hi.
Hey.
I have a question about the branding thing. Like recently, let's just go with the Elon Musk thing. Sometimes he goes on and off with the topics that you can sometimes find, let's say, not really in the guidelines. And I've been thinking if that's a good way of actually promoting your business sometimes, but by doing something that's not so mainstream. Like you've checked, you know what I'm talking about.
You mean like when he tweeted and it costed him, I don't know how many million dollars? Yeah. I mean, yes. So he also lost his executive chairman role at Tesla because of it, right? I mean, I can't answer for Elon Musk, of course, but you have to be, of course, more careful, or you have to, like, if you take a risk, there's always, that's why we call it risk, right? Because you can either jump, you can either die, or you can either land on something, or like a lot of people say, build a plane and fly. So there is no, and I cannot give you an answer that say exactly what it is, but he should be somehow, you should be a little bit more careful. Like for instance, I can tell you about me, that if I'm gonna tweet, like I get asked from a lot of people to tweet about things for their startups, or like to promote their concepts and so on. And some people call me influencer, but I'm not really an influencer because I don't make money out of my tweets. I don't sell my tweets, I don't tweet things I don't believe in. So I don't want to say or associate myself with anything that is not something I believe in. So because it's an endorsement from my side whenever I say, so I have to be very careful. And I know that a lot of people like, that they know me, and like I have a certain impact on them, so I have to use that power in a responsible way. It's the same for him, but I think it's a good gameplay from his side. I don't think he did anything wrong. Yeah.
And what is like, because that's like pretty interesting question. So like, because there is a difference between an influencer and like personal branding.
Yes.
What do you think is the major like differences? Because
I mean,
it's confusing.
Yes, it is confusing. I mean, for instance, some people say for me an influencer, but I'm not, because influencers it's a living.
Yeah, it's making money, and you're doing it for another purpose.
They have like partnerships and all that, and I have been approached many times to do that, but I don't want to, because like I do it because it's fun, and I don't want to curate a content that it's not mine.
No.
So personal branding, it's you have to know your own values, and you have to communicate those values every single time. You have to be consistent throughout everything you say. So for instance, I am a big Apple fan, and if you look at my newsfeed, I will never talk about anything other than iPhone. Even if I have anything negative to say, I will say it something good about iPhone, like, and be sarcastic about everything else. And so I don't like to name other. No. So I think that personal branding, know your values and be consistent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then one thing before it expires, if you tweet right now and then you expect something to happen, it won't. You have to build up.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years until I got my first job offer, for instance, from
so it's
Twitter.
about being passionate, committed, and being consistent.
Yes.
And find yourself and who you are there.
Yeah, relevant content. Okay, we're out of
Perfect.
time.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good. Woo.